Okay, so taking a break from the comic book fights to go back into professional wrestling, it's nice just to mix it up a bit. Someone threw out the idea of Mr. Monday Night, who's also Mr. Thursday Night, occasionally Mr. Sunday Night, who always knows what time it is, because it's normally 4:20. He is the whole effing show, or the whole damn show, depending on which show he's on. He is the one and only Rob Van Dam. Very, very few people, well, he looks like he looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme, that's why he ended up going with the name. Really cool guy. Super cool guy. Very, very mellow. Probably from the meditation and yoga. The Jamaican meditation. On one hand. Other hand, you have Daniel Bryan, the leader of the Yes movement. So you pretty much go, yes, Rob, yes, Van, yes, Dam, and you'd be set. You know, 'cause you could just did both hand motions. You can go like this, pop the thumbs, drop it down. If you do it like this, it's because you're white and you're uncoordinated. So, Daniel Bryan, the greatest of all time, or Bryan Danielson if you were a fan of Ring of Honor, who is the American Dragon. He's normally considered the GOAT because of the beard. He's also been called the Beard. He gave us one of the greatest run-ups to WrestleMania of all time. It's the reason why 30 is considered very good, probably because it had a tremendous story. Rob Van Dam was very, very well known for his time in ECW. He was actually one of the main stars that made the invasion angle kind of potentially work. Had beautiful matches during the invasion time with Jeff Hardy over the titles. They did a hardcore ladder match that is... It's got botches in it because the moves they tried to do were... It would take like two Spider-Men to get it to work out just quite right. Well spent time in TNA. You know, Daniel Bryan, Ring of Honor legend, was in NXT, was fired when he was part of the Nexus because he decided to choke out. It was Justin Roberts with his own tie. Was let go, did the indie stuff, then was brought back as like a mystery partner. Really wasn't going anywhere really well until he became like verbally abusive heel to AJ Lee, which is what began some of the very, very obnoxious like, yes, no chance. What really solidified, of course, was Team Hell No that he did with Kane. Rob Van Dam also for a while teamed with Kane. So I think in little professional wrestling, Kane is like your Kevin Bacon. But I'm going super far off track here. So I'm going to have these two guys in a match. Now, I do these things kind of like my comic book one, but it's a little more in depth since professional wrestling, it's a combination sport as well as an art form. That's why it's sports entertainment. For some other companies, it's just the raw physical talent. But there's certain accliments that are required in this. I look at this kind of from you have a lot more of your physical skills, and your physical attributes, your overall skills, and then how the crowd reacts to you. So you have strength, speed, endurance, toughness, striking, grappling, submissions, high flying, and then you get to the unique part, because this would be work for almost any sort of, most forms of physical combat. But you also have to worry about the crowd. Are you over with the crowd? How good is your ring psychology? How good is your mic work? Ring psychology is, if you're on the heel side, do you do your moves, then do you go back? Do you use your rest holds? Are you playing up to the camera? Exactly how is it that you're doing to keep the crowd constantly involved in the match, whether you're the heel or the face. Now, of course, that's 3 different independent scenarios. Normally, what I try to do is I'll actually try to do, if one person wins one, another person wins another one. I try to. I don't have the ability to do 6 on one hand. People in the town that I'm from, a few of them have an additional finger, but that's a whole different ball of wax. So, right off the bat, strength. When you look at Rob Van Dam, you look at Daniel Bryan. Neither one of these guys is your prototypical, or I should say, your prototype professional wrestler. But Rob Van Dam does have more muscle definition and actually uses a bit more in the way of slams. So he actually is a somewhat stronger individual. Speed. Daniel Bryan, really great bursts of speed. But you see something similar when it comes to Rob Van Dam. But Rob Van Dam slightly more known for his speed and overall quickness. You know, he's the guy who's just a little bit faster. He is a lot more known for. I remember watching the ECW matches where he would come flying in from one. He was not hard camera. He come flying in from the side of the screen and do something. Very, very quick, you know. As JR would say, he was sudden. He was that quick, he was sudden. Endurance, Bryan, easy. I was at a Ring of Honor. I saw him take on, I want to say it was Kenta. They went to a 1 hour time limit. The crowd was exhausted. Physically, mentally, emotionally, the crowd was just done. Then we chanted 10 more minutes. They then went to a 10-minute draw. We chanted 5 more minutes. They then went to a 5. They wrestled for 75 minutes. That's endurance. That's just ridiculous. Toughness. I have to go with Rob Van Dam. I'm well aware of the fact of the stuff that Daniel Bryan did in Ring of Honor. I have to compare that with Rob Van Dam wrestling during the Attitude Era and ECW. The good one, not WWE ECW. He put his body through an incredible amount of pain, suffering, and agony, and he kept on going. So on a physical standpoint, you know, Rob Van Dam definitely is a larger, faster. So he's faster, stronger, and he take a tremendous beating. Daniel Bryan, man, can go all night, especially with the bring up time. So now we're down to the overall physical acclimation. How good are they when it comes to actual skills? When it comes to what do they actually bring to the actual ring side? One is your physical appearance and your physical abilities. One is your actual in-ring skill and in-ring abilities. So, striking. It's hard to beat the severely educated feet of Rob Van Dam. I know I'm going to hear a lot of, well, you've got lots of great elbow strikes, lots of great knee strikes. But when it comes right down to it, so much of Rob Van Dam's offense was based upon how well he could kick you. And he could kick you from everywhere. Tremendous, very, very well educated feet. You know, legitimately trained individual when it comes to kicking. Very, 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 very skilled at that. He pretty much had a kick-based offense with some splashes. Grappling. I'm sorry, we look at different styles of suplexes. Your guy who's doing your arm, your basic arm moves that are not considered submissions. Your headlocks, your takedowns, that is Daniel Bryan. Submissions. You know, when it comes to submissions, man, that's Daniel Bryan. Submission specialist. Really, really great at what it is that he does. Just fantastic. Whether it was the lapel lock, cattle mutilation, which is a beautiful move, hard to work with the way cameras are set up. You know, you really can't hard camera that move just because of the way the body position is and the body language. But a beautiful, beautiful move. Oh, it'd be great to see. But you'd almost need a camera. You'd almost need a Lucha Underground like camera above the ring looking straight down to get an actual good shot of the individuals involved in the move. And finally, high flying. I had to think about this one. Like diving headbutt, suicide dive for Daniel Bryan. Van Terminator, which was I believe Van Terminator was the coast to coast that he would do with the garbage can. 5-star frog splash, split-legged moonsault. You know, a lot more dives. So I definitely have to give the edge there for Rob Van Dam. So of course, if you're keeping score at home, Rob Van Dam got 5 points. Daniel Bryan's at 3. So right now we are 5-3 going into this final sequence, which is all about the reaction of the crowd. Over with the crowd. If we're going back to ECW time, you hit Rob Van Dam, that place is going to explode. Attitude Era, you're going to get a pretty good sized pop. Would that pop eclipse what Daniel Bryan gets? No. 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 Daniel Bryan is so over with the crowd, his chance of yes and no have actually surpassed what? Yes, Daniel Bryan has chants that have actually surpassed Stone Cold Steve Austin's what chant. So over with the crowd, boom, Daniel Bryan. Ring psychology. How well do they sell getting injured? How well do they sell throughout the match? How good are they when it comes to their comeback? How good are they when it comes to the beatdown? How is that ebb and flow? Rob Van Dam is good, but Rob Van Dam was never really great as someone who would take a beating, sell the injury, and keep on going forward. His ring psychology was better than average, but when you look at how Daniel Bryan was able to work a match, we'll look at the WrestleMania 30 match. He sold a rib injury on a lot of the match, rib and arm. Arm was probably legit, but did a great job with rib and arm. Knew how to keep the crowd involved, knew how to work with the injury, knew how to mount just the proper comeback, get the crowd back involved into the match. So over with the crowd is that initial, how do you get that big pop from the crowd? When your music hits, what happens from the crowd? Ring psychology is, how well is that story being told? Are you drawing the crowd back in? Because that big pop in the beginning doesn't mean anything if the crowd falls apart mid-match. Daniel Bryan, from his time in Ring of Honor, I saw him do a 75-minute long match, and guess what? The crowd was involved in that match entirely. There was that give and take of Daniel Bryan feeding off the energy that the crowd was giving him. And then he hit those big spots, and you feel that energy coming back to the fans, and it's that ebb and flow, it's that give and take, and Daniel Bryan knows that. Probably one of the best wrestlers who knows how to actually bring that crowd back in. When you're a heel, you want to try to push the crowd out of the match, get the boos started. When you're a face, you want to be able to take the beat down to kind of nullify the crowd, have that crowd begin to build to give you the strength, pull that strength, and then go forward to the win. Definitely psychology, Daniel Bryan. Now we're down to mic work. So if you're keeping track at home, 5 for Rob Van Dam, and 5 for Daniel Bryan. Now it comes down to overall mic work. Not taking anything from Rob Van Dam. I do love the calm, cool, collected, what's up, dude? How's it going? I got a match, man. I'm going to do it. I kind of enjoy the Louis Spicoli way of doing promos. He never really got the, hey man, that's cool. He never really had a super dynamic character. He was always just the cool dude. He was that cool, relaxed guy who was amazing in the ring. That was it. Daniel Bryan became really good when it came to mic work. When he first showed up at NXT, everyone was like, he's bland, he's a nerd, he's a vegan, he sucks, he can't talk his way through anything. But towards the end of his career, he can do a pretty compelling and a pretty good job on the mic. He actually is very easy to surpass what Rob Van Dam can do. So, Rob Van Dam's at a 5. Great job when it comes to physical skill. Ties him up pretty well when it comes to, how well you actually physically work inside the ring. But Daniel Bryan might not have all of the physical attributes. Pretty good when it comes to overall physical skill. But the way he can work a crowd and draw the crowd and work that psychological aspect, that's what gives him the edge. So it's 5 for Rob Van Dam, 6 for Daniel Bryan. If these two guys were to be involved in a series, I would say you do a best of 3. Best of 3, I picture Bryan getting the first one, Van Dam getting the second, squeaking by. Third one, easily going to Daniel Bryan.